experience gives you your intuition. But really what it is, you've seen so many patterns on the chart that become part of your subconscious or unconscious. And that material then turns into your intuition.
We might be in the top 15% of traders in the world. Who knows? But that's not the top 5. It's not the top 1, and it's still not good enough.
Trading is actually the easiest thing anyone can do. It's everything that's involved with trading that is hard. Like the mental aspect, the discipline. Like anybody can sit down in front of a computer and push buy or sell. Like that's not very hard. When you get to a point where you see something present and you can feel it inside you, you almost get this intuition, and you have all your like I have to have all these confluences going for me, below all the VWAPs, above the like all these things going on first. Have to check off on the chart, but I get this feeling, and I'm just watching Bookmap and the candle printing, and it's like almost like a flow state. As cheesy as that sounds,
there's lots of people out there that feel the same way, and it's a hard area to get through, in my personal opinion. And I think probably a lot of times this is the time where you quit as a trader.
This is Behind the Charts podcast, where real traders have real conversation. Welcome back to the pod, everybody. This is Behind the Charts, where we talk about all things off the charts that affect our performance on the charts. And it's actually a perfect day because I am a little bit sick today, so excuse the congested voice a little bit, but I haven't been trading this week, and that's because I know what's best for me. I've traded in the past while being sick, and it's only ever ended with blown accounts and red weeks. So taking a lesson from, my past experiences, I'm stepping back this week, but that's not to say we're not going to have some great conversations today, because I think we have some really important topics to cover especially for the traders that are between, the first 1 and 3 years, where we struggle because we see what's possible, but we're still holding back. We're still held back by something, and we're kind of working through that, trying to have as much self-awareness as possible. So with that all being said, what's up, Christine and Randy? How are you guys doing today?
Hi.
All right, I'm good.
Okay, so the first topic we have today is basically about being a break-even trader, and what does that mean? Because to be break-even not only means being break-even P&L wise, but that also can be learning wise. You can maybe feel like you're in a stagnant period of learning. So I know, Christine, you brought up this topic, so I just wanted to get from you first, where did you want to go with this conversation? How did you want to best talk about it?
Well, I'll start by saying the reason why I thought about it was I was in the ASFX stream the other day, and Randy, you might have been there too, and there was a trader there that typed out basically that they were in the zone where they were like break even, that they felt every step forward was coupled by a step back, and there was no forward progress. And that hit me hard, because that is exactly how I feel and how I felt for a long time. Because I've been in this space where I have not made a payout. I have not, quote unquote, become a profitable trader. Although I've made progress, it's sometimes harder to see, especially when you're in trading to make money at the end of the day, where that's why we are all here. That's the end game. So not making money and still coming to work every day and trying to move forward, but not feeling like you're making progress as far as your profit and loss goes. And that can really put you in this space of feeling super frustrated. I feel frustrated very often, to be honest. I still wake up and I still go trade, but a lot of the times I'm feeling frustrated because I just want to make a milestone, like I just want to make a payout so I can be like, okay, this is the thing. I can do this. But until you get there, you're in this space of like one step forward, one step back, make good progress on my accounts, lose some funded accounts, have to get new ones, start the journey over again. So I just think it's a good conversation, because I don't think I'm the only one. I have a strong feeling, and actually I know for sure I'm not. There's lots of people out there that feel the same way. And it's a hard area to get through, in my personal opinion. And I think probably a lot of times is this is the time where you quit as a trader because you've spent enough years doing it. You know, I'm gearing up on 3 years. At what point do you say, I'm not profitable, I gave it a good shot, I should move on? Like, this is where I think people start weeding out.
I mean, I don't think you could be more on the money with that. I always think about the quote of like, when it gets most difficult, like this is when I tell myself this is where most people quit, just like what you're saying. And there's so much there. I'm just thinking there's so much to break down from what you said, because like waking up in the morning frustrated about your situation being, I'm putting in all this effort and dedication to learning a craft, but the one thing that this craft is supposed to provide me, I'm not getting that. And it like leaves you in this questioning self-doubt rut of like what to do. And you know inside that like if you want to do this, and when you're listening to the people who have been doing this for 7 years, 10 years, and like Austin, people like this, the only thing you could do is to keep showing up. But then that's the most difficult thing to do, because you have to show up with an attitude of pure bliss, in the sense that you can't take anything else into consideration despite feeling these strong emotions. And I mean, maybe we could talk about that for a second, because that's like how do we get over that hump? And I know for me, the way I do it is by just accepting, like this weird acceptance that I am not where I want to be. But in the last few months, what have I learned? And what can I take away? Because so I had a conversation with my dad yesterday about this exact topic, because rather than me feel, I phrased it slightly differently, but I think it's a very similar thing. Is I said I feel like I've just treaded water this year,
Yeah.
particularly since after January, because January I took my biggest payout yet. But then after that, I sized up to take this payout. I got it in a couple trades, but like one really big trade that I was like, this was my A+ setup. I hit it with like triple the size I normally do, but now I'm left with this reinforced feeling of I can size up on these good setups and then take payouts. And that led to like 2 months of just blowing accounts with this like kind of with this attitude of just size up and it'll work out. And then I went through this period of moving and transitioning to a new house and a new environment where, if I'm being really honest with myself, I lost focus a little bit. I got a lot of other dopamine from, my external stimuli being so changed, like moving from, a really poor place to live to like a nice place to live. And that changed my like motivation with trading for a little bit there. And now that I'm finally back on track, it's like, okay, now I'm sick and I'm just in this period of like feeling like I'm treading water. But when I look back on it, now I can see that through the last like 2 months for me of not trading, not being stuck in that day to day of trading, because we all know it as traders when it's more intense minute to minute for us as like a 1 minute trader, but it can be, just the same for someone who's swing trading or whatnot, of like, you're so hyper focused that you're not like you're in that like fight or flight mindset, and you're not able to intake information the same. And for me now, stepping back, I just rewrote my trading plan today and really defined for me what are the few set variables that I want to keep consistent, because I was like, I'm at the point where I have consumed enough trading information where it's not about more information, it's about less information. And I want to be more refined on what I'm looking at. And I feel like I've totally like changed the way I look at charts, especially this one guy on Twitter, excuse me, Adam Mancini. He talks about the way that he trades in this like he doesn't post charts, he just posts price levels. So you have to decipher it and be, at a caliber to understand what he's talking about. But he basically explains how his number one setup is a bank, like the banks run on stops, and then the short squeeze that comes after that. And now I'm like, I messaged him today actually and said, like, I appreciate what you share, because I feel like I've totally changed the outlook of how I read the market now because of your tweets and your explanations. Because for months now, watching this and seeing this, it's now very clear. So overall, my point with this is, when you're in a break-even period or a treading water period, maybe it's best to step back and say, I'm going to get out of this fight or flight, mentality, and then see what can I take away from this experience. Because at the end of the day, it's all a learning experience. Nothing is ever a linear, path. And I would wonder, Christine, like, what can you take away from some of these periods where you feel like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm still learning, and I still want to show up at the desk with motivation.
Yeah, I'm still like, I'm in it right now. So I don't have a great answer to that. I do know that apart from all of it, the most important thing is to keep showing up, because we're all not going to be our best selves every single day. We're not going to take the best trades every single day. And maybe I'm just not in my best trading right now, and that's okay. I just got to keep powering through. And I do know that is the most important thing, is to just keep showing up. I think I got myself into this where I spent a year doing everything I was supposed to, like very detailed report cards, markups, learning, doing all the things. And I have gotten away from that because I think I just got frustrated in the fact that I didn't feel like it was giving me the results I was supposed to be getting or should be getting. So I am in a bit of a point now that you could probably look at my trading and look at my habits and say, okay, well, that's why you're not making payouts. But then I would just show you my entire last year and be like, well, I did that. I did everything you want me to do. And I still didn't make a payout then too. So I think we talked about it last episode, but there's a discipline piece where you almost need to be so disciplined at the desk every day, doing the same things over and over that don't get you any visible progress until one day you finally have progress. Like, if anyone's mind is being blown right now because they're like, I cannot believe I come to the desk and trade every day and go through all this shit every day, that's me. I'm just like, how do we actually do this? It's fucking crazy, people. Like, what are we actually doing? Don't get me wrong. I'm not telling you not to. I will come to the computer tomorrow morning and trade, but I'm also freaking out a little bit.
Well, I don't know if it was on X, I saw it somewhere, but somebody retweeted or reposted something Umar Ashraf said, the founder of TradeZella, but it was basically the term like trading is the hardest thing anyone can do. Trading is actually the easiest thing anyone can do. It's everything that's involved with trading that is hard. Like the mental aspect, the discipline, like anybody can sit down in front of a computer and push buy or sell. Like that's not very hard, but everything else involved with it is the hardest part. So and then again, like sitting here listening to both of you guys talking about this conversation, all I kept going through my head was like, we're trading sim land, we're trading sim money. How does that define us being a profitable trader or not? In reality, if we were trading personal capital or if you were trading not for profit targets, do you think things would be different? Both of you guys are amazing traders. It's not a question of your guys' trading abilities. It's putting ourselves in a position where we have to achieve these, these monetary profit targets. And you can't say to Tradeify or Top One, I just want to make 50 grand in my first quarter, or Thomas wants to make 10 grand in this quarter, because they don't give a shit. They want you to hit this profit target and they expect you to hit it in the shortest amount of time. So obviously you fail, which is their goal, because then they get you buy the challenge or instant sim funded account all over again. So I think even the conversation of being a profitable trader when we're so focused on playing a game is not, you can't let that define your ability to trade or who you are. Like you go to explain to someone that you were up 6,500 in your account, you're 500 away from a payout, and you blow the account. So you're in drawdown what the account cost you, or are you in drawdown what you blew up in the sim money? Do you know what it's having this conversation of being profitable is like, it's tough. Like, how do you even, it's almost like, are you winning or losing? Just basically, right?
Yeah.
Are you like +1 or +2 in the sim land? Like, how many payouts have you got? People get payouts for $50. They don't tell you, but they say, I took a payout. Right. Yeah. I just found out today, Take Profit Trader has a $250 daily payout you can take. If you make $250 that day, you can take it out. But no, people are just going to say, I took a payout. They're not going to say, I took out $50 or $100, right? Like, so it's, again, like this, like, I think when we just phrase things the way in the language we use, like, are we profitable traders? Well, trading sim, like, okay, now I got to do the math on how many challenges did I buy and where am I at in that sense. But I think, like, and I know both of you very well, you guys are both like very good traders. You're not sitting at the chart and being like, oh, I'm just going to enter here. This is the bottom or this is the top, or, I'm doing this. You have a thesis behind everything you do. You have, you put on the chart what you want to see, and you're making, a calculated decision. Neither of you are making silly decisions.
And it's like, this is where you can be. We might be in the top 15% of traders in the world. Who knows? But that's not the top 5. It's not the top 1, and it's still not good enough.
Damn, Thomas. I'm supposed to come away feeling better about myself.
Well, but okay. Actually, go ahead.
What you said, you are right. These prop firms do want you to hit a target, but it is not the profit target. They want you to hit your drawdown. Yeah. That's their target for you. And the reason why it's their target for you is because they give you less. That is a shorter road to hit your drawdown than it is to make the target you need to get paid out.
And I think it's two conversations. Is the system I trade profitable? And then is the money I'm trading making me profitable? It's like two different buckets. And when you trade a personal account, it's one bucket because you've one system and one account. Yes. But when you do the funded accounts, and maybe we can just touch on it for a little bit, because this has been another big topic for me of like in this period of treading water is the whole profit target situation, because that I don't think any 6-figure, 7-figure, 8-figure prop trader, like real proprietary trading firm or whatever, is going to say having a profit target is real trading.
No, they almost always say they don't trade with profit targets. There is no
exactly. There's no profit target to get any money. So it's like, that's where it's difficult, because I can have 10 green days in a row and then blow the account. This happened to me 10 green days in a row, but then I blow the account because that 10 green days wasn't enough to get me there. So then the frustration leads to blowing count. It's like, but that's stats. Those stats are so skewed. There's so much emotion in there due to these rules that I think it's really hard to put judgment upon, yourself as a trader, especially when it's the prop firms. And I think you'll find traders that say prop firms are harder than regular trading, and you'll also find traders that say the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, but that's where I don't know. I really think if you're on the verge of quitting trading, you should put, I don't know what you're comfortable with, but put some money in an account and trade it for a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. Like, give it some time. Don't trade it for a week, and unless you blow the account up, but you're going to manage your risk a lot differently when it's your own money. But it just like my account cost me $600 Canadian, I think, by the time the money's converted, $150K account. I've been trading it for 6 weeks now. I'm halfway to a profit target. And I don't know who I said this to, maybe Austin or maybe Christian. I said this to somebody. If I can get a payout in 2 more weeks, it took me 8 weeks to make $3,500. I can't live off $3,500 every 8 weeks. So even in the sense of
Starbucks.
Exactly, but even in the sense of these prop, people don't understand. It's again, it becomes such a game, and then you throw social media in there, and it makes it, they glorify the game. right? Where it's people don't realize, like, the three of us are struggling traders. We don't have other forms of income. Like, maybe one day I'll make money from my content, but I'm not now, right? So it's not, we can't glorify it and be like, oh, I'm stoked because I'm doing this. And it's like, so it's such a,
But
I'm really
there's
getting turned off from the prop game, if you want my honest opinion. Like, the prop space is really starting to turn me off from my trade. Like, I know I'm a good trader. And it's like, I make mistakes based on profit targets. And if I need to make those mistakes in reality in a personal account for me to decide whether, like, how does that define me as a trader? If that makes sense.
Okay, so one thing, and I know we probably are not, this is not on the docket for today, but it's kind of going along with what Randy says. And I think we all need to be aware, especially as new traders, following people online. A lot of traders out there that trade are making more money with their social content, their affiliate sales, their whatever, than they are making trading the charts. That is a hard concept to understand. I mean, it's not hard to understand, but if you really think about it, we see a lot of people online, doing this job, trading every day. But listen, they make more money doing other things. So let's not get that like twisted. This is a whole industry. The prop firm isn't an industry to suck money from us. That is apart from trading itself.
Patrick Whelan came out and said he was making $400,000 a month from affiliate sales.
Yes.
He had no problem saying
crazy.
it.
No.
It's no
right?
surprise.
So, but again, what other people, good for him. Like,
yes,
like
100%.
My hat goes off to him for like being able to do that. And it just, you have to remind ourselves again, we're playing a game. We're not, do you know what I mean? There's nothing but a game at the end of the day. And unfortunately for us, we're learning a new skill playing a game.
I want to dig into something you said, Randy. When you said like that $3,500 won't pay my bills, but I did it in 8 weeks. Because that had like a negative connotation to it. And I want to bring up one thing. We'll reference Nick Stewart's podcast again. Great podcast, really good listen. He said, know what period you're in. Are you in the learning period or the earning period? And I believe all of us are still in the learning period. So it's not about the money that was made, but it was about the accomplishment that was achieved. And that should be celebrated for what it is, because whether it's 3,500 now or 15K down the road, we all know it's just a matter of copying a few more accounts together. Now, the other thing, I actually want to take the opposite side to your argument one more time with, if you're feeling like because this is like me taking now my new advice after doing the opposite, basically after doing what Randy said and experiencing some basically problems with that, because obviously this is going to be person to person and your personal finances matter a lot with trading, like way more than you can imagine. And even when you have enough money to live, it's still going to mess with your trading for like all the other reasons about dipping into savings and opening this account up to exposure and all of this kind of stuff. So for me, when I was, feeling stressed about money and stressed about my trading performance, I had the same thought of, F these prop firms, I'm going to go trade my own money. And that's exactly what I did. And I lost money. I didn't trade well. I traded awful because I was going into it thinking I need to make money. And that was my, solution. But after being like, okay, let's move away from that idea. Now what can I do? Because I hate these profit target things. And this is where I don't get it. Everybody started to hate on Top Step. Top Step has no profit targets. They probably have the easiest rules to get a payout, and the combines are pretty easy. Like, yes, it at some point it took me like months to get one of these things done, but now I can get it done in 3 days, 2 days if I wanted. And I didn't have to do any resets or anything. Like, this is just, I bought it and now I'm in. And so I ended up taking the approach this month of, I'm going to get 2 Top Step XFAs, because I believe to whatever degree you want to say the prop firms have the trader's best interest in mind, I don't agree with that statement. But what I do agree with is that the rules at Top Step have the trader's interest in mind. With proper trading like habits, much more than all the other companies with an instant sim funded account or even a challenge account with a consistency rule. I think the consistency rule is the number one problem. And then you add on top of that a profit target. And now you get a list of rules that just don't align with trading habits. So for me, now I was with futures, you really can't enter a trade without $50 of risk on. Like that, really, you can't, because that's one mini, 10 points on ES across
One
any
micro.
asset. It's pretty universal. So my downside risk for the month is $400, and that's split across two accounts, so 200 and 200, and they're not copy traded. So what I was potentially losing in one day is now my whole downside loss for the month. So that gives me, security of finances, and now I can go into it not thinking about the money, because it's not that much money that I spent to get them, but also now I can focus on just having proper trading habits. So I would say, instead of opening a personal account, maybe go back to something that's a little bit safer, because if you trade well on that account, you're going to take money out. Period. There's no, as long as you're not stupid with it, you're going to take money out.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that one bit. I think it, based on your financial position, for sure, you gotta look at. But what what I'm trying to say is that if you're at a point where you're been trading for, I don't know, however long it is, and you're really struggling in prop firms and these profit targets aren't working, and now Thomas is going to be our perfect example, because you're gonna watch him do this, take this journey live of going back from these instant sim funded accounts to the core of how this whole prop trading stuff came to light with Top Step. And even my first payout I took it with Tradeify. It was a challenge account. It had a 30% consistency rule, but it only had it had half the profit target as an instant sim funded. So I can totally see, like, the instant sim funded model is all, not smoke and mirrors is the wrong word, but it's definitely there for you to pay more money because you think, hey, I don't need to take a challenge. Well, like Thomas said, when you're a good trader, that Tradeify challenge, I passed it in one day. I think there's no consistency on the challenge. I passed it on FOMC. It was like a $6,000 trade.
Yeah, and there you go.
It goes like, and then I took the same trade in a funded account. I think we had this conversation, and the exact same trade I made, like, in my funded account, it was like $200, but in the challenge account, I made $6,000. Just goes to show how I sized, obviously, because of the risk. And then I took a payout on that account. Like, it didn't even take me very long to get the payout, because it's like, it's more in favor for the trader, where the instant sim funded, you're paying a higher price thinking, oh, I'm paying more, I'm getting more value, and I'm going to pass this thing. You know what I mean? I'm going to hit the profit target. So I totally agree with what Thomas is saying, but I'm saying, if you're in a position, you've been trading for a few years, like I told Christine, probably, in this next month, I want to do a 10K challenge with her or something, because I'm morally struggling with the profit targets. Maybe I should do what Thomas said. Maybe the three of us should go back to challenge accounts and get these accounts that have no profit target, where we can trade them more freely and, trade how we want to trade without the consistency rule. Because if I'm trading a personal account, there's no consistency rule. I'm taking what I can when I can. I'm going to be aggressive. I'm going to be aggressive even closing my trades if I want to, because I don't really care. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, I need to get to this goal. I just need to preserve my capital and grow it, right? So
yeah, maybe we should do a behind the charts challenge of do it on Top Step.
Let's do it.
Get the combines, see how it goes, and see if that helps, because you're right. I think there was a lot of transfer when straight to funded came out. It was this new thing wrapped in a pretty gift wrap, but I'm not going to say it's shit, but it could potentially suck
It's
more.
Disguised.
Yes.
Because the profit target is roughly the amount of money you would want to make on the account size to start taking payouts. Like, there's no denying that it's in that rough balance.
To leave a buffer, it's just a mental,
it's a mental thing. And it's a very specific number. You could be at 8,800 or 88,000, whatever, but you're not at 9. And now so you know what I'm saying? It's like, and then
No,
you
I
add the
get,
consistency rule, and then now it's totally a different product.
I get it. And I think how many people failed, how many challenge accounts, and they're like, I failed 10 challenge accounts. Well, there's the cost of one instant sim funded account. I should just get that, and I'm going to get a payout. And clearly, the instant sim fund, that model has blown up. So what does that tell you? It tells you that clearly it's not easy to get the payout that way. So by you skipping the challenge and going to it as a new trader, it's not the answer, right? Now it's like people hate on Apex, hate on Apex. And I'm still not, I've tried diving into it and seeing how many payouts are denied. And just on X, you don't know what's fluff and what is. I got to read the comments of every post just to figure out what's going on. And I still think them giving you the option to pass these challenges in a day or two and to scale up 20 accounts, I think that is a better option than an instant sim funded account in certain cases. How crazy that sounds, I think it's a better option. If you're able to handle that risk, like Thomas passed 50K combines?
Yeah, I just did basic level. I want the
3
lowest
days.
amount of
For
risk.
3 days.
3 days, yeah.
Right? So imagine you had 20 of them and you passed them in 3 days, and you can. You might blow them up, but you can at the same time. You've passed. Now you're at a point where you're passing more challenges than blowing them up. Like,
that's a great way to put it.
Here's the argument. This is where people were getting tired of the combines, because let's say we're talking about the 50K accounts, whether it be a straight to funded or a combine. In a combine or a challenge account, you spend however many days it takes you to pass it. 1, 2, 3 days. What people were getting tired of, or what I think they were, is they could have done that in a straight to funded and taken a payout versus just passing the challenge. So they'd pass the challenge and then they would lose their funded. And you think, well, if I had have just gone to a funded in the first place, I could have taken a payout.
I'm pretty sure I heard you say those exact words.
Yeah. When
sure.
I started with Top Step, past combines, always got to the funded stage, failed them. And I said, when straight to funded started being a thing, I said, well, why am I wasting my time in combines and challenges? Because I can pass those. Why don't I just go to pay for the funded account now and get the payout? Well, guess what? I didn't get a payout. I fucking suck in funded accounts. They're like my arch nemesis right now. One day I'll beat them, just not today.
This has to be some like psychological thing with gambling, right? It's like, first off, we can all admit that, like, what an opportunity even for me to pay $200 and to have $2,000 of leverage, let alone, so that's now we're already here. And then on top of it, now that's not good enough. Now, okay, you'd have to do 2 days to pass it. That's not good enough. We want 1 day, or we want instant. So now you get this new flashy object, but the new flashy object comes with new rules. And those rules, I don't think were like dug into enough by the consumer. Whereas the companies, they know what they're offering. We all know it's we all know what's going on. They're paying it out with the people who have lost the money. That's their only revenue source. So how else are it just doesn't make sense that they would set it up any other way than for you to not be able to succeed.
Yeah, they're rooting for you to lose. We know this. And we're all still trying to beat the prop game, but they're on one side and they have a lot more money and they have a lot more statistics and they have a lot more understanding.
They're not fighting the mental battle that we fight.
No.
Right? They got the biggest edge, right? We have the worst thing going for us, which is our mental mindset and how we treat things. And they're just a computer with a back end collecting your money and paying out their bills and doing, you know what I mean? Like, that's all they're doing.
And that's why you have to spend enough time in the game to know which one am I going to do best with and have the best chance of succeeding, to grow my own personal capital so that then I can go trade however I want, when I want. Because at the end of the day, it's just a tool, and we have to use the tool. So you can hear how all of us are just talking through this, and making our own game plans and being able to, have these conversations so we can say, hey, this is what's going to work for me best based off of, my past performance, giving me the best possible shot to be in that top 1%. So after this conversation, Christine, does this leave you thinking, maybe I'm going to start doing this next week or anything like that? Because I know last week we talked about you having all sorts of accounts, but now you've blown a couple. So now what's your game plan moving forward after this?
Well,
If you
yeah,
have one.
I blew 3 accounts. So I still have a Tradeify 100K. I passed a challenge today with top one. So I have a top 150K funded account, I guess, or I have to activate that. And then I also have a Top Step XFA. So I have 3 accounts. I love the idea. I mean, I think what you're saying, Thomas, is basically fuck the consistency rule. And I kind of like it. I think you have something going there. So maybe I should start focusing on my Top Step. I have the account. I think it's in drawdown, but even if I lost it, I could, go the combine route and get one again. So I like that idea. I like the idea Randy has about the Apex accounts because 20 accounts, the power of that is kind of cool. I like all the ideas. I think you said it. Trying to find something that works for you is half the battle. But the biggest point that I'm going to take away from this conversation is the consistency rule and profit target maybe not being the latest and greatest, and maybe going back to the challenges and even going back to a challenge account where you have a greater statistic. Like it's not a 20%, it's a 30% consistency. Like that would even be helpful. So I don't know. I kind of like that idea of maybe just I gave straight to funded a try. Yeah, I could always.
I have a.
Yeah.
Sorry, Thomas. 1 sec. I have a. It's actually like the timing. It couldn't be better. I have a 1 Top Step combine from. I don't know if anybody remembers the $19 promo. You guys remember that last year? I bought 10, and it's been just over a year, and I've passed 9 of them and blew 9 of them XFAs, and I have 1 left, and it's going to roll over on Saturday. So Monday morning, I will have a fresh 50K Top Step combine.
Nice.
There's your shot.
That's amazing.
So I'm gonna do this with let's do this all as a team, and because I can see Thomas is basically what I interpret him saying is, fuck these rules from these prop firms or these companies, these rules that are in place. I want to trade how I want to trade, and when I get to that point, when you want to take a payout, you're going to take the payout. Whether it's, if you get $500 in profit and you would want to take a $500 payout, you're not going to have to worry about the account being, I need X amount of dollars to get X amount of dollars, right? Right. You'll make that decision on your terms, which I think is more or less you want to trade on your terms.
Yeah. And if anything, it's like more than anything, it's, I want to trade how the people have traded before me that have been successful. I want to just repeat what people have done before. I'm not looking to reinvent the wheel of trading and try and do something new. I just want to trade the same way that other people have had success. So if that means I can't do these accounts, then so be it. And that's what that means. And so the way I'm going to manage the 2 accounts I have is the first one is just my regular account. And it's just my goal is get green on it. It's just get green. And then if there's a setup that I want to be more aggressive on, I'll switch over and go to the aggressive one. But for you, Christine, I would maybe say you just focus on either the combines or the XFA first. And then, then it's okay, I got spare hour in the afternoon. Let me run over to the top one and try something
around
out
a little
over
bit,
there. And but it's not even fuck around, but more just I have to trade this. If I don't trade it, it's going to get breached anyway, and I'm going to put my most focus on this one. And it's either get green or I'm just not on my game today, and I'm going to leave this alone. And
right,
I think the people who do the prop firm game well seem to have a more important account and a less important account for however you want to interpret that for, long term. I don't know the implications for that, but that seems to be what people are doing. And the ones that they focus on just getting green every day are the ones that they take payouts on.
Mm-hmm. And they blow through accounts.
Oh, like,
I mean, yeah, not to mention that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could literally blow 7 accounts and then take one payout and be at break even.
If you guys really want to get into the weeds, like I've heard like some of the craziest things, like even Patrick Wheeling gets his accounts for $1.
Oh, wow.
Right? But he's making them hundreds
That's
of millions.
It's crazy.
Probably.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like I think he has to pay them something probably because it's some sort of tax. Like there's got to be something to it. Like you got to pay $1 for this. I can't give it to you for free. Because there's some sort of like maybe who knows? I'm just like getting into like not conspiracy theories, but just the weeds, right? Because it's like I listened to a guy on a podcast that's been taking multiple payouts, and he was asked how many accounts he blew through in the last year, and he said thousands. People, I read a guy on X that took $120,000 out of Apex. He spent $40,000 on challenges, 30% to get $120,000 payout. I don't think personally I could put up 40 grand of money blowing challenges to take 100. Like the risk to reward to that to me is like tomorrow if Apex goes bust, you're out $40,000 in blown accounts. Like
you just saw Nick in the Black Shirt Club. He is a regular trader just like us. I don't even know if he's taken a payout yet or not, but he has. He just got an email from Apex asking for detailed how do you trade.
I don't think that's wrong.
Well,
I don't disagree with it.
I think it is. If you're just telling me, or when I sign up, unless if there's some very specific rules when you sign up that I don't know about, I've never even traded with Apex, then I guess you're within the constraints of the legal document you signed. But it did seem to come on when they were paying
for sure
unusually large payouts.
I agree with you. The timing is terrible and the approach they're doing it is terrible, but I can't fault a company for being like, you want to come and play the game on my dollar. These are the rules, which you're right. Apex should have their rules clear so there's not confusion, which has been so much in the past. People get denied because they don't even know the rules. But then again, we had this conversation in our marketing group. How many people look at the emails or read a contract when they're signing these? There's a reason you're asked to sign multiple times when you're buying a combine, getting a PA, all these things. You probably put your signature 3 times, 3 different places. There's a reason. That's a legal document. You're not signing it because you're like, oh, cool, I just want to play this video game here. Let me sign this. No, they're making you sign it because they have stipulations in place that to cover their ass and be like, we're not going to pay you or not do this. Again, you want to be a professional trader and you're reading a contract and not signing it. You're like, be professional about it, right? So
you're right. But
let's
move on.
Yeah, let's move on.
Right,
I've had enough of this.
Absolutely right. There's nothing more to be said about it. So let's move on because we touched on it a little bit of like, finding what works for you. And it's a big buzzword sentence as a whole. And we're going to keep it quick because it already has been, 40 minutes or so. So we're going to keep it quick. But I want to break down the buzzword of like finding your style or, finding a strategy that works for you, because as someone in the peanut gallery of Randy's performance, I can see now that in the last 3 or 4 months, I really believe that Randy is finding his style. The trades that he's taking are so similar every day. And even with you, Christine, there's a very specific trade where it's like, when that comes up in my head, I'm thinking that candle is Christine's trade. So it's like, we start to know each other's trades very well. And I just want to talk about, this buzzword for a few minutes. So if anybody is wondering, what does that mean? Or how would I know, that I'm finding my style? Like how can they know that? And just Randy, why don't you start it off with just explaining, like maybe in the last few months, if you've noticed yourself really like kind of growing into your system and finding what works for you.
So like finding your style thing, like, I don't know if this, like, I'm just trying to think about this, but people ask me less and less why I take my trades. Does that make sense? Like Thomas, you just said, like, I take sometimes very aggressive, almost scalpy trades. and I'm comfortable doing it. And Christine, like, I did it today to the point where I had to lock myself out because it's like I get too comfortable doing it sometimes, and it can be a detriment, obviously. But I don't like, for me, finding, I don't know, like, just once I started like looking at my last month, I had like 10 red days, I think, out of maybe 7 or 8 red days. But I looked at the green for each week, and it was double, like every week was just consistently better. And it just dawned on me, like, what I've been doing for the last month. I found my way. Yesterday I fought the VWAP, which I like preach till the cows come home. Now don't fight the VWAP. I did it yesterday, and I took my biggest loss of the, if not probably the year. Like, I hit personal daily loss limit in 2 accounts, and I got my personal daily loss limit set high, so it gives me room to take some heavy trades multiple times. And it stung, and it just was like, I didn't break a rule. I just kind of veered away from what's been working for me. And now what's been working for me, like, I'll see, when you get to a point where you see something present and you can feel it inside you, you almost get this intuition. And you have all your, like, I have to have all these confluences going for me, below all the VWAPs, above the, like, all these things going on first, have to check off on the chart. But I get this feeling, and I'm just watching Bookmap and the candle printing, and it's like almost like a flow state, as cheesy as that sounds.
But real.
And yes, very real. And now my biggest battle is when to pull the plug. I know when to pull the trigger, but at what point am I content taking 10 points, 9 points out of a trade? Like, that's what my biggest work on is right now. But I think once you get into that, you just look at a chart, and it's a minute before the opening range is going to set, but you don't trade till the opening range sets. But everything on the chart is screaming at you. You just got to go with your gut, but at the same time, you can't do that from the get-go, because you got to be systematic to a point. And now when I take my trades, I'm totally systematic. And the last 10% of me pushing buy or sell is what my gut's telling me to do, if that makes any sense.
I think that's great.
90% systematic, 10% discretionary, where before, if you asked me 2 months ago, I thought I was like 50 or 60% discretionary and 50% systematic. And now I see, like, I got 5 confluences I need to go in my head, need to line up. They line up. My gut's the last little bit of the puzzle, and my gut's like, you're either in or out. And then by doing that, at least I know I followed my process. And if my gut was wrong, it was wrong. 90% of my idea was right, 10% of it was wrong. So how can I fault myself for that? I got to walk away being like, I walked away yesterday sad at first. Like, I had to keep like reminding myself, and I almost made up excuses for my actions. And after thinking about it, I was like, there's no excuses. Like, this is what I did. Like, I got to own it. Right. And I owned it. But yeah, no, sorry to keep it short. That for me right now is just feeling this like flow state. Like, everything is like seeing everything very clear. And my chart's very simple. Like, it's got a couple VWAPs on it and some volume profile, and that's it. And
what it leaves me with, which I experienced just the same as you, is, and that's what I knew, is your body tells you when to, like, so that's how you know whatever you're doing technically is now sound, that you can, kind of start, you found what works for you. And so, Christine, because I know we've had many conversations recently about you saying like what you're doing is not necessarily speaking to you. And I know you also had a call with Austin and whatnot. So would give us an update on how you're feeling and handling, this, the technical side of trading right now.
I think there's something that happens, and I can't be sure because it hasn't happened to me yet, but I'm sure other traders, I've heard them talk about it, is there's going to be something where things start clicking when you start seeing things working, because you've ironed out all the kinks, like the logistics of it. What asset are you trading? What size are you trading? You could be a shit trader trading 5 micros and be a great one trading 5 minis. Believe it or not, that can happen because of lots of different things. There's a lot of mental stuff behind that would be a part of that. But there's a lot of logistics that I'm trying to figure out myself. I think I talked about it last episode that I had a list to help my discipline. Well, I've totally almost thrown that list out the window because I find when I try to box myself in, I usually end up breaking the rules. And, Austin, it's like if you keep on breaking your rules, we'll change your rules. So I can't fight the person that I am. I am probably very discretionary and I need to figure out a way for that to work. I think it might take more time than the average person that's not as discretionary, just because I think it was in a book somewhere and I have to find it, but basically you spend so much time, you spend the experience looking at the charts, and that experience gives you your intuition. But really what it is, you've seen so many patterns on the chart that become part of your subconscious or unconscious. And that material then turns into your intuition. All it is the day after day after day looking at the charts. Your intuition that you have today is all the days that you spent previous coming to the desk, looking at the charts and trading. So every day I come and I'm growing my intuition, therefore I'm becoming a better discretionary trader, but that takes time. Systematic traders, you can look up a strategy and plug it in and just start doing it from day one and find success. But when you're a discretionary trader and you want to be able to feel what the market's going to do, it's like, Thomas, you talked about that one trade that I love. I honestly am considering doing one account of just those trades because I often miss them because I'll be in another trade and they show up and I'm like, oh, fuck, like I really want to take this, but I'm already in this short. And it's like, I should have just waited for this. So that kind of thing, I love that trade. It feels good to me and I can feel it coming, because it's a trade that it works from the bottom of the 15-minute opening range to the top. And you're basically a bearish open, but I'm like, ooh, this doesn't feel bearish, this feels like it's gonna go. And a lot of the times that happens. Doesn't work all the time, but obviously I need to look for different things to see if there's a good entry there, but I feel it. And that's because I've just seen it so many times. I've just watched that chart movement so many times that now in my mind, the experience has turned into intuition. But trying to find your niche in trading can be difficult. And I remember James, another coach of ours from Black Shirt Club, he said to me at the beginning of the year, he's like, this is your year, Christine. And I'm like, okay, James, I believe you. And he's like, but if you don't make a payout by June, we need to look at what you're doing. And he's like, we need to switch something up. He's like, maybe it's your asset that you're trading. Maybe it's this, maybe it's that, maybe it's your strategy. I don't know. And here I am in June. I need to book a call with him to remind him of him saying that. But sometimes you do need to change things because something's not working for you. And it can be like, maybe I should start trading NQ. Maybe.
I want to press you with one question.
Yeah.
Because the one system, right? We all want a couple different strategies,
Yes.
like more than just one entry signal. So
Yeah.
you have one entry signal, but to get the other entry signal, do you think it's something on the charts that needs to be added or taken away? Basically, an indicator change, like a different way to literally read the chart, or is it something up here? What do you think it is for you?
You're talking about everything else I trade other than my favorite strategy.
Yeah, like for you to take it to the next level where you want to get out of this rut of feeling like I don't really fully know if I align with VWAP right now.
Right.
It's like, do you think it's just something totally different, a different indicator, just a totally different way to literally read the charts? Or is it like more of a mental shift that needs to happen?
I mean, I would love to say it's probably I need a new strategy because this one that I'm trading is shit. But the real answer is it's up in my head for sure because I know what I'm trading can be traded really well by other traders. I see it all the time. Now, whether or not it's going to work for me is a different story. I often let so much come into my brain and I try everything. You know, I'll see a strategy and I'm not back testing it. I'm just trying it. So I'm very apt to just throw a lot of things, a lot of what's a man term? Throw hooks in the water to try to catch a lot of fish.
There you go.
Yeah, like I do that. But that's just part of my process to an extent. So there's lots of reasons why it's taking me longer to get profitable. I could probably claw back some of my tries. I don't need to be, throwing my net as wide as I do. Or my
Or
favorite
maybe
trade,
it
like I
is.
said,
Maybe you've got to change the net that you're throwing.
maybe I have to change the net. Maybe I have to change the pond. Maybe I have to go to a different pond to fish.
Absolutely. And I think my whole point with that question is just to leave it with that. Like it's
Yes.
probably not just one thing, and it might be, like it might be something like that too.
I'm just waiting for you guys to fix me. Like,
that's what this podcast is for.
Can you
Slowly
figure
but
it out?
surely, all of our problems will be fixed, and we're just gonna talk it out.
We're gonna have this conversation in a year from now, and we're gonna be doing it from a private jet.
Oh,
Flying somewhere, filming a podcast in a private jet, and just howling. Right. So
that is a goal.
you got to
Our
manifest
new
these
goal.
crazy things for them to happen.
I mean, we
Behind
could
the
pull
charts.
together money for a private jet right now, but
we'd get one little trip out of it, and then we'd be like,
yeah, that's
why
it.
did we do
Just
that?
one trip.
Yeah.
We could be like the Lambo Raoul's and these guys. We could just like rent a fake jet or rent a jet. We could rent some Lambos, pull them up to the airport, make some content. Oh man, like
you don't even have to rent the whole jet anymore. You can rent a studio that looks like the jet.
Yeah.
Don't get me started, man. Like some of these people on social media just make me like, oh, I seen a guy with like 15 followers with like a bedazzled like look like a $200,000 Rolex and all these rented cars, and I'm just like going through reading his like, because I'm just like a weirdo. I like if I click on somebody, if somebody follows me, I go through their whole profile. Like I like no, because I want to know who's following. I want to know what kind
Randy.
No, is it organic? Is someone following me for a giveaway? Does somebody even care what I do? Like, what am I offering? Like, that's just who I am. I'm a weird dude.
Yeah.
I'm really curious, right? And I want to know these things. So it's like, but you see some of this shit out there, and it's just like, and it's sad because people fall for it. People give these people money, and it breaks my heart when I see shit like that. So, anyways.
But on that note, we are not those people, and we are the most real, authentic traders on the internet. I
can't even afford the same color lid for my protein shake. It's like it's a mix and match. Like that's how real it gets.
More authentic than this. So, with that all being said, I hope everyone has a great trading week, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Cheers.
Bye.